Welcome to Boys in the Hood TV. Today we're tapping into the streets of Chicago, and we're going to be talking about a known CPL gang member, Samuel Parson Salas, who shot 4 people, killing 3 of them back in December of 2022. Now, Samuel Parson Salas is from CPL, also known as Central Park and Leland, which sits in the Albany Park neighborhood. Now, CPL is made up of a set of conservative vice lords. CPL will go on to adopt names like Ant Block, Savage Mob, and Veil Gang. The name Ant Block was adopted after the death of a fellow CPL member named Anthony Hollins, who died in 2017. Now, Veil Gang is named after LaVelle Moore, aka Velly, who was killed in August of 2018. And the name Savage Mob was named after the death of Darius Ortiz, aka Savage, back in 2018 also. Now, CPL is one of the most diverse hoods in Chicago, known to have both Black and Hispanic gang members. Now, Samuel Salas was already deep into the streets and had multiple run-ins with the law in his teenage years. On September 21st, 2009, and at the age of 19, Samuel, along with his 16-year-old brother, Mizal Salas, and a man named Christopher Doring, drove to an apartment on West Sunnyside. Now, this apartment belonged to a local drug dealer known as Alice Santiago, also along with his fiancée, Angelina Escobar. Now, Samuel and Christopher grabbed their guns and headed inside the apartment while Mizal waited inside the van. Gunshots could be heard from the apartment on the 3rd floor. Both Sam and Christopher came running back inside the van with bags of weed and cocaine. All 3 men would immediately flee the scene. Nearby neighbors would call the police, who would arrive shortly after to find Angelina Escobar bleeding, trying to crawl towards the front door, and Santiago leaning against the wall with a gunshot wound to his head. An ambulance would arrive shortly later and transport both victims to the hospital. But not long after, both Escobar and Santiago will be pronounced dead. Now, later that night, the Salas brothers, along with Christopher Doring, headed to an apartment where they would get high and brag about the murders. Now, with multiple witnesses, investigators will be able to tie this double murder to the Salas brothers and Christopher Doring, who will be arrested the following year on September 10th for 2 counts of murder. During the trial, multiple witnesses would testify about Doring bragging about the murders, and also Samuel's younger brother would testify against his brother and Doring. And by the end of the trial, Christopher Doring will be found guilty of 2 counts of murder and sentenced to life in prison. Samuel Salas would only be found guilty of 2 counts of home invasion and was sentenced to only 8 years. Now, the reason being, Salas took a plea deal. Now, after years in prison, in September 2022, Samuel Salas would be out on supervised release. It would only be 2 months before Samuel Salas would commit another violent act in the streets of Chicago. On December 11th, Samuel Salas, along with his girlfriend, who he had only known for 2 weeks, would tag along with a woman by the name of Mercedes Tavares for a birthday party at the Vera Lounge, located in Portage Park. That night, the Vera family was celebrating 25-year-old Mariah Vera's birthday. The lounge was owned by Carlos Vera, who was Mariah's uncle. Now, in attendance at this party were Mariah's family and friends, which included Ricky Vera, Oscar Ortiz, and Mario Pozuelos, and many others. Now, everyone was enjoying the night, dancing, drinking, and having a good time. But at around 2:30 a.m., an altercation would take place between Samuel and Mariah, and Samuel ended up hitting Mariah. And this would lead to a big altercation where the Vera family would ask Samuel and his girlfriend to leave the party. As Samuel exited the building, he continued to exchange words with the family. As soon as Samuel went outside, he and his girlfriend walked to the SUV, and Samuel retrieved his gun and place it in his pocket. Shortly after, the Vera family will come outside to confront Samuel for assaulting Mariah. Surveillance footage would show that Mario Pozuelos tried to talk to Samuel, who had his hands inside his pockets. As more people came outside the door, Samuel stood his ground. And that's when Ricky Vera would walk towards Samuel screaming, "That's my daughter." And without saying a word, Samuel took a few steps back and opened fire. Ricky Vera would be shot in the head and chest as he collapsed to the ground. Immediately, Mariah Vera ran to her father to check on him. Samuel would then take aim and shoot Mario in the neck, who would collapse on the sidewalk. After shooting Mario, he then next would approach Mariah, who was kneeling down attending to her father, and shoot her directly in the head, critically wounded her. Next, Samuel walked over to Mario once again, but this time he would shoot him directly in the head. After shooting Mario, he ran back to the SUV, and that's when he noticed Mercedes Tavares. Now remember, Samuel came with Tavares to this party, but for whatever reason, he aimed a gun at her head and shot her directly in the head also. And as he turned to walk back to the SUV, he turned around once again to shoot her another time at close range. Afterwards, he got in the SUV and he and his girlfriend both fled the scene. Police would arrive shortly afterwards to find all 4 victims on the ground. Mario Pozuelos, Ricky Vera would both be pronounced dead at the scene. Mercedes Tavares would be rushed to St. Sinai and later be pronounced dead. And Mariah Vera, although shot, she was still alive, but in critical condition. She will be transported to Advocate, Illinois' Masonic Medical Center, where she will be put on life support. Now, immediately, the police will begin investigating, and witnesses would ID Samuel Salas as the shooter. Now, once the police ran Samuel Salas' name, they will realize that he was out on parole.
Tragedy struck in Portage Park overnight when an argument inside a lounge spilled out onto the street and turned physical.
In the end, 4 people were shot and 3 people died.
Shots fired, school or central school. There were several shots fired to a huge crowd.
Video posted on social media shows that crowd and the chaos outside of Vera Lounge moments after this deadly shooting.
I got 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 right now. 2 more ambulances.
Among the victims, Rick Vera, whose brother owns the bar, shot and killed. His daughter, 25-year-old Mariah Vera, shot in the head, fighting for her life at an area hospital. And 2 of Mariah's friends in their 20s, Mario Pozuelos and Mercedes Tavares, were both killed.
This man was arguing with his daughter, and he came out and says, hey, that's my daughter. And he just turned to him and he shot him point blank.
And the following day, they would get word that Samuel had been seen at an apartment complex. They would head to West Montrose, where they would find Samuel holding his girlfriend hostage against her will. When police tried to make their entry, Samuel would try to escape out the back door, but was caught and arrested by the officers.
Multiple people identified Samuel Parson Salas as the person responsible for the deadly shooting spree outside Vera Lounge early Sunday that killed 3 people who were shot multiple times at close range. No bail for 32-year-old Samuel Parson Salas. The 32-year-old is charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder following the mass shooting outside Vera Lounge in Portage Park.
Now, initially, Samuel will be charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of attempted murder. But in August of 2025, Mariah Vera was moved to hospice as the family prepared for her final days.
As strong as she is, her time has come for us to slowly say goodbye.
The doctors had told the family that her brain functions would never return, and on August 21st, Mariah Vera would pass. Now with the passing of Mariah, Samuel Parson Salas is now facing 4 counts of first-degree murder, and as of today, he's still currently waiting trial. I would like to thank everybody for tapping in, and I'll see y'all next time.